You leave the engine running when you pull up to the pump. Most people do. And that is the thing to stop. You have felt it. You pop the fuel door, you twist the cap counterclockwise, and there it is, that little curl of vapor coming up out of the neck like the tank is breathing on you. You are not imagining that vapor, and you are not being paranoid for wondering what it is. A shop will read one little EVAP code off that vapor situation and quote you $200 to $600 to chase it, sometimes more at the dealer. Call it an estimate. It swings by region. Here is what is actually happening. The fuel in your tank got warm from driving. The air at the pump is cooler. When you crack that cap, warm meets cool and you get a little fog. Nothing is exploding. Nothing is broken. Your fuel system is doing its job. The practice I want you watching for is this one. You bring the car in because that vapor got worse or a light came on, and the counter hits you with a diagnostic fee, a smoke test fee, a fuel system cleaning, and a canister job stacked on a repair that started as a $10 cap. That stack is what this is aimed at, not the fellas turning wrenches. The good news is, almost every piece of this is a free habit change or a $10 part, not a four-figure repair. You just have to know the difference before you hand over the keys. I am Sal Whitaker, 12 years inside a dealership service department, 30 running my own shop. I have seen both sides of that estimate. You do not need a mechanic to fix any of this. You do not need special tools. You do not need your Saturday. Half of what I am about to teach you costs you nothing but the 10 seconds it takes to turn a key. And listen, the question is never, can I afford this repair? The question is, do I even need it, and what does it actually cost? Once you can tell those two apart, nobody sells you a fuel system flush on a $10 cap ever again. That is the whole game. That is what changes today. There are 4 stages here, start to finish. 2 of them cost you nothing but a habit change in your own driveway, and the whole thing tops out around $45 if you replace the one part yourself. First, we rule out whether that vapor is even a problem, because 90% of the time it is not. Then I'm going to show you the $10 part they charge $120 for. Then the topping off habit that quietly kills a $200 piece of your car. Then the gotcha at the counter. And whatever you do, do not skip the last stage. There is one thing you do at the pump, or fail to do, that almost every driver gets wrong, and it is the whole reason the little cheap fix does not stick. All right, come on over here, look at this. Before you spend $1, let us find out if that vapor is even worth worrying about. Here is how you tell. Next time you fill up, notice when the fog shows up. If you just drove 30 minutes on the highway and the weather outside is cool, and you crack the cap and see a little mist that dissipates in about 2 seconds, that is warm fuel meeting cool air. That is not a problem. That is physics. If instead the cap hisses hard when you open it, if you smell strong raw gasoline, if your check engine light is on, that is a different situation. Look at your dash. If the light is off and the car runs fine, you are looking at physics, not a repair. The system is simple when you look at it. The fuel in your tank warms up from driving and from the return lines. On a diesel truck, that fuel can hit 70 or 80 degrees Celsius on a long highway run. Even on a gas engine, the fuel warms up. The tank is sealed. You twist the cap counterclockwise, it clicks loose, and the vapor moves. When that warm fuel vapor meets the cool station air, you get the same effect as your breath on a cold morning. Now, if there is a real problem, you might see an EVAP code. The code family is P0440, P0442, P0446, or P0455. Those are small leak, large leak, and vent control codes. Any 1996 or newer vehicle has a sealed, monitored EVAP system, so this whole conversation applies to essentially every car on the road today. The stakes of getting this wrong at the counter are real. I had a diesel driver come in last month, panicked. He had just come off a 3-hour highway run, pulled into the station, cracked the cap, and saw a plume of steam curl out of the neck. He thought the truck was overheating or the fuel was boiling. He limped it straight to a shop, and they quoted him $340 for a smoke test and a fuel system inspection. The truck had nothing wrong with it. It was just warm fuel meeting cool air. The diagnostic fee alone for that test runs $75 to $150 at most shops. Call it an estimate. It swings by region. The payload here is the number you refuse to pay when the vapor is just physics. The exact words to say at the counter when they hand you that quote are these: "Is the check engine light on? If it is not on, what code are you chasing?" That one sentence stops the diagnostic fee cold on a car that has no code stored. But here is the mandatory caveat, the honest limit. If the light is on and you smell strong fuel, that is a real EVAP situation and you need the codes read. A cheap OBD scanner from a parts store, $20 to $30, will pull the code yourself right there in the parking lot. That is driveway work. Anything past the reading, like smoke testing a pressurized fuel system or replacing tank components, that is shop work, not driveway work. So the vapor by itself, most days, is not the problem. But there is a part sitting behind that vapor that is a problem, and the shop knows it is the first thing they can charge you for. It is the smallest, cheapest piece of your fuel system, and it is the one they will quote you the most padding on. Come here, I will show you. Here is how you tell the cap is the problem. Take the cap off. Look at the rubber seal on the underside. Is it cracked, flat, glazed, or hardened? Turn the cap in your hand and check the plastic threads for cross-threading or chew marks. Screw it back on. Does it click 3 times like it is supposed to, or does it just spin and spin? If it does not click, the seal is not pulling tight. That is your leak. If your check engine light has been coming on with a P0440 family code and the seal looks tired, you have found your problem before you spent $1 on diagnosis. Now look at this one in my hand. It is 2 to 3 inches across, plastic, usually black, tethered by a little strap so it does not get lost. The rubber ring on the underside is the whole game. It seals the top of the filler neck so the fuel system stays pressurized enough for the computer to run its leak check. That tighten until it clicks printed on the top? Everyone clicks about 3 times when new, once when tired, and 0 times when dead. It goes because the rubber hardens from fuel and weather over about 10 years. On any 96 or newer car with monitored EVAP, a bad cap trips the exact same code as an actual leak. That is the whole design. I had an F-150 in the shop last year with a persistent P0442 code. The owner had paid $340 to another shop to chase it. They smoke tested it, inspected the lines, and sent him home. He came back a month later with the same code. I put a $10 cap on it and it was fixed. Here are the numbers, stated once. An aftermarket cap is $10 to $15 at any parts store. An OEM cap from the dealer counter is $25 to $45. The shop quote range is $50 to $120 at an independent and $80 to $160 at a dealer. A lot of that is a $75 to $150 diagnostic fee stacked on top. $10 cap, 2 minutes. They quoted the man $347. Estimates, swings by region. The do-it-once gotcha is simple. Buy the right cap for your car. The parts store lookup by year, make, and model gets it right 99 times out of 100, and the wrong cap will not seal even if it screws on. The words at the counter are, "Show me the old cap you are replacing, and put the diagnostic time on its own line so I can see it." But here is the honest caveat. If you put a new cap on and the code comes back in a week, the cap was not your problem. That is EVAP work past the driveway. The canister, the purge valve, the vent line, that is shop work, not driveway work. A fair quote for a real EVAP leak past the cap is $200 to $600, estimate. So that is a $10 fix they quote at $340. But here's the next one, and this one, they do not even quote you for the part. They quote you for the fear. Because the part you are about to break, you break yourself every time you fill up. Come here. Next time you fill up, listen for the nozzle click. That first click is the tank telling the pump it is full. That is the way a modern filler neck is designed. If your habit is to squeeze a little more in after the click, top it off to the next round number, or top it up to full, you are the person this section is written for. Signs your habit already caused damage include EVAP codes that come and go, a hard start right after you refuel that clears up after a minute, or a strong fuel smell from the back of the car that lingers longer than it should. Your check engine light may be on right now. Look at this. This is a charcoal canister. It is a 6 to 12-inch black plastic box with a bunch of hose fittings on it. Inside, it is packed with activated charcoal. Its whole job is to trap fuel vapor from the tank so it does not vent into the air, then burn it later through the purge valve when the engine is running. When you top off past the click, you push liquid gasoline up through the vent path into that canister. Charcoal absorbs vapor. It is not designed to be soaked in liquid fuel. It saturates, it swells, it stops working. Every OEM manual, Toyota, Ford, GM, Honda, says stop at the first click, and this is why. Not a conspiracy, it is in the book. I had a Camry lady in last year who topped off every fill for a decade. She showed up with a P0446, a fuel smell, and a $900 dealer quote. Here are the numbers. The canister part price is $80 to $200 aftermarket and $150 to $350 OEM. The shop quote range is $200 to $600 at an independent and $300 to $750 at a dealer. Sometimes more with the labor time to drop the tank on certain vehicles. Estimate, region swings. The adjacent part, the purge valve, is $25 to $80 aftermarket. Sometimes it goes with the canister, sometimes it does not. $200 part. Killed by a habit that saves you 7 cents at the pump. The behavior fix is this. Stop at the first click. That is the whole thing. It costs nothing. It saves the canister. The words at the counter if you already have an EVAP code and they are quoting a canister are, was a smoke test done? And can you show me where the leak was located on the printout? And put the canister, the purge valve, and any cleaning services on separate lines. The honest caveat is that canister replacement on most cars is under the vehicle. That means it goes on stands, which means it is shop work, not driveway work. A fair quote is closer to the low end of the range if there is no seized fastener situation. So, stop at the click, save the canister, save $200 to $600. Simple. But all of that still will not stick until you get the last step right at the pump. That is the one. Come here, this is the whole reason you clicked. The moment you are diagnosing here is not the car, it is the estimate. If a shop hands you a piece of paper that says EVAP diagnosis, smoke test, fuel system cleaning, induction service, and canister replacement all stacked, that estimate is the symptom. Read it the way you would read a code. Every line either has a code behind it or it does not. If the diagnostic step has not been done yet, the parts on the estimate are guesses. If a canister is on the list but no smoke test result is on the paperwork, you are being sold a part before the diagnosis is done. That is the tell. That is what you are looking at. The part in hand here is the estimate itself. Look at the format. Labor line, parts line, diagnostic fee line, shop supplies, environmental fee. Each one should either be tied to a specific code or a specific inspection finding. If the diagnostic fee is on there, and the smoke test fee is on there, and a fuel system cleaning is on there for an EVAP code, that is 3 charges for one diagnosis. The way a fair estimate is built is one diagnostic fee that gets you a specific finding. A code, a leak location, a failed part, then a repair quote tied to that finding. Anything beyond that with no evidence attached is the padding. Here is what the ranges look like. A fair EVAP diagnosis with smoke test is $75 to $150 as a combined charge, not stacked twice. A cap replacement, if that is the finding, should not have labor over 10 minutes on it. A canister replacement, if that is the finding, is labor time from a book, not made up on the spot, 1 to 2 hours on most vehicles. Anything called a fuel system flush, induction service, or fuel system cleaning on an EVAP ticket is not the repair. That is an add-on. Say so, and it comes off the estimate. Estimates, region swings. But the shape of a fair quote is the same everywhere. The script is 3 sentences. Memorize these. Show me the code and the smoke test result before we talk parts. Put diagnostic time, parts, and labor on separate lines. Take everything off that was not in the finding. That is the whole counter script. The honest caveat is some shops will still walk you to the door on that, and that is fine. That is the shop telling you it is not the shop for you. A shop that wants your trust will show you the printout without a fight. And there are honest techs behind those counters who hate the practice as much as you do. I worked with some of them, and they taught me half of this. That is the counter. That is the script. That is the 4 stages. $10 cap, free habit change, a refusal to be padded. But now here comes the one I told you at the top not to skip. The one step at the pump almost every driver on this road gets wrong. All right, come here, close in. Here is the one step at the pump that almost every driver on this road gets wrong. It is the whole reason a check engine light comes back after a cap change. It is why the canister costs you $200 when the habit was supposed to be free. And it is the reason the fuel system holds pressure the way it is designed to. Nobody teaches this. The owner's manual mentions it in 6 words on page 400. 90% of drivers I see at my counter have never done it once. Here's the step. First, kill the engine before you touch the fuel door. Not while you are walking to the pump. Not after you have swiped the card. Before you get out of the car. Second, wait about 10 seconds after you kill it before you crack the cap, because the fuel system needs a beat to equalize. Third, when you open the cap, turn it counterclockwise slowly. 3 clicks of release, not one hard yank, so the pressure vent's controlled, not violently. That is the step. Kill it. Wait 10. Crack it slow, counterclockwise. Feel it click. Here is why the way everyone does it fails. If the engine is running, the fuel system is under working pressure, and the vapor recovery system in the pump nozzle cannot seal properly against a live system. The canister is being purged into the intake at the exact same time you are pumping fuel into the tank. If you yank the cap fast, you dump the whole tank pressure through the vent path in one shot. That shot is what soaks the canister the same way topping off does, just from the other direction. Slow release protects the canister. 10 seconds after engine off equalizes it. What is this one step worth? Doing it wrong, engine running, cap yanked fast, over years, is what makes the $10 cap fix not stick. The seal wears faster because it slams shut against pressure differential every fill. The canister ages faster because it gets vapor shocked. So the cheap fix comes back as a repeat EVAP code within a year, and now you are back at the shop paying that diagnostic fee again, another $75 to $150. And if the canister has been shocked long enough, that $200 to $600 canister job comes with it. Do the step right, and the $10 cap holds for the life of the seal. Call that 10 years, honest estimate. Do it wrong, and you buy the cap and the diagnosis twice. So here is what you do next time. You pull up to the pump. Before your hand touches the door handle to get out, you kill the engine. You get out, you swipe, you pop the fuel door. You count to 10. And when you twist that cap counterclockwise, you do it slow enough to hear the 3 little clicks of it letting go. That is it. That is the whole master step. Free. 10 seconds of your life, and it protects everything I taught you tonight. Now I owe you a straight one before I let you go. Sometimes that vapor is a real problem. If your check engine light is on with an EVAP code, and it has been on for months, and you are smelling raw fuel every time you park, that is not a cap, and it is not a habit. That is a canister or a vent line, and it is real work. A fair quote for that job is worth paying, and a good tech on that job is worth every hour. I am not telling you never to pay a shop. I am telling you know which is which, so when the bill is fair, you smile and pay it. The thing to name one last time is the stack. The diagnostic fee and the smoke test fee and the fuel system cleaning, and the induction service, and a canister quote, all piled on a car that needed a $10 cap. That stack. Not the tech, not the brand, not the manufacturer. I had a Silverado owner in here last month sold a fuel system flush for a bad cap. Some of the best folks I have ever known work behind those counters, and some of them taught me half of this. It is the padding practice. And now, when you see it on paper, you can pull it apart line by line. That was never a your car problem. That was a their quote problem, and now you can spot it from the parking lot. Your car is not out to get you, neither am I. That scary quote was the only thing in this whole video that ever was, and now you can spot it from 3 car lengths back. A shop lives on the repairs it talks you out of, not the ones it stacks on you. Kill the engine. Wait 10. Twist slow. Stop at the first click. That is your fuel system taken care of for free for the life of the car. All right, your turn. Drop a comment. What do you drive, and what is the scariest fuel or EVAP quote a shop ever handed you? Tell me straight and I will tell you if it was fair. No judgment. Nobody gets roasted here. Half the folks who come through my bay have done the topping off thing for 20 years and nobody ever told them. And if your car is doing something at the pump right now, some smell or some noise or a light that keeps coming back after they cleared it, tell me what it is doing and I will tell you if it is a $10 fix or a real one. I read the comments, all of them. If this saved you $1 tonight or saved you $1 you were about to spend Saturday morning, hit subscribe so the next quote does not catch you off guard. That is all I am asking. Next time I am opening up the 3 lines on every shop estimate that are pure profit. The shop supplies line, the environmental fee, and the one they slip in at the bottom hoping you do not read down that far. I will show you the exact words that make each of them disappear off your ticket without so much as an argument. Bring your last estimate with you. You are going to want it out on the counter. Take care of it and it'll take care of you. See you.